Hello everyone, thank you for joining us today. For today's session, we'll give it a few more minutes for everyone to jump in and join us for today's session. Today's session is more of workflow with iClone. We want to share a bit more knowledge and more tools that our users can actually have with Perception Neuron and iClone. Perception Neuron being the Mocap system and Access Neuron being the the software that capture records, and then you have the option of sending that data to iClone either through a live plugin or you can actually import that through FBX. And I'll go over that information so that everyone can feel comfortable and have a better understanding of how the workflow works. This is kind of like a brief introduction, how to do so, and how to get comfortable with the tools that are there for you right away. As we all know, Mocap data from Perception Neuron, it's good. There's some animations that need to be tweaked, edited. So there's a lot of different things to go through. So I want to prepare you guys so you understand the process it goes through and not shy away from the tools that are out there for you. So let's give it a few more minutes. I have one person there. Thank you for joining us. So let's give one more person to come on board. And all right, so we got one more person coming and join. So the more people that watch the video, the more exciting this gets and the more questions we get at the end. So we'll save the questions for after the video for everyone to kind of have any other inputs out there for us. I think today's video is going to be very exciting for a lot of us, a lot of our users that are using our system and have also iClone. And if you don't know what iClone does, we'll touch up a little bit on the workflow so that you can have, again, a better understanding of how it works so that you can be better prepared. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I have a few people on board for today to watch the video. And again, today's video is just going to be about the iClone workflow. So let's jump into my slides here so you can see. So I want to share with everyone out there. If you have any questions that we missed out during the live stream and you want them to be answered, send them at contact@neuronmocap.com. And that is for everyone to send us any questions, feedback. If we might have missed out something, let us know so that we can address it and we can comment back on the video. We have people out there that are helping us, answer a couple of questions out there through the YouTube stream. So that's something that, everyone's going to be kind of collaborating as we go along. So contact@neuronmocap.com is the email to reach us out. And so definitely have that in mind for everyone out there. So let's jump into my computer here. And for this example, I want to show everyone I'm using. I'm using a Wi-Fi, portable Wi-Fi adapter on my computer. It's powered USB and it's connected to my Ethernet port. I have my hub already set up, ready to go for that, for everyone out there to understand what I'm working, with that system. And also, I just have a portable battery pack that's powering my Perception Neuron, and it's an Anchor, what they like to call the candy size, and it's about 6,000 milliamps. That battery lasts about 3 to 4 hours, more than enough for this live stream for everyone to see. So let's go ahead and jump into Access Neuron. I have my suit already connected. This is me live right now. So I'll go ahead and disconnect so that we can start from scratch. And everyone sees the process of going through. So first thing I'm going to do is hit connect. I have my Perception Neuron already in equipment list. Is already detected by my router and it's locally detected through the computer's router network information. So I'll hit connect. You can see my IP address is right there. I'll hit connect. Give it a moment to search for my Perception Neuron suit. Okay, so there I am. I am live. So you can see that's me right there. And you can see I'm obviously sitting there. So the first thing I'm going to do is check through, my system. Everything's working good. Everything's green, looking good. I need to do one more adjustment. I'll select a preset for this example, male 165. Yes, I'm not too tall, but hey, I can do mocap. So male 165 is the range that I'm looking for. And once I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and do the calibration. And we all know the calibration is very important to do. Mind your surroundings where you're doing the calibration is very important because that's where your system will understand where is, a clean environment. And anytime you do the calibration in the location, Perception Neuron will depend on that data. So it's important. Remember, everyone, check your surroundings, mind your surroundings, and where you do your posture calibration. So right next to me is actually quite a well location to do the calibration. So I'll go ahead and start that. Hit the calibrate button here. I'll do the steady pose, TNS pose. Let me put that window aside so you can see while I'm doing this. It's all live. I'll hit next. Before I do, actually, let me make sure I'm properly situated in a good location here. I'm actually using a wireless mouse for this so that I'm away from my computer doing this. And I'll click next so I can initiate the posture calibration. Steady pose first. A pose. T pose. S pose. So once I do that, everything's ready to go. I'm here moving. This is all live. And all the sensors are tracking my fingers correctly. There's no weird movements on the fingers. Everything's ready to go. So this is me live right now. So let me parent the camera so they can follow my hip movement. So you can see that going on live. And the first thing that I'll do is click on record. In this case, I'm going to change the file directory to a folder that I have on a desktop. Click on the folder. I'll click on export. New folder. This is where I'm saving all my raw files. Select folder. And now I have scene_3. So let's go ahead and do a quick recording. And I'm going to do actually a performance. So I'm not an actor, so give me a chance here, guys. So I'm just going to try to do some kind of performance for you guys. So let's click on OK. You're going to hear a beep, and that means it's ready to record. So once I click this, I'm going to run to my other room so you can see my performance. All right, there we go. This is me live. As you guys can see, I'm doing a live performance here with my computer. And then I'm going to do a quick performance here. It's okay if you guys can see my screen while I'm doing the performance. And I'm basically just moving around, This is a recording. So let's say I'm, getting in a fight, a brawl. I'm getting angry with somebody at a party or something. And let's say let's do a push motion. Come on, man. What's going on? You're calling me a mocap guy? Oh, man. Kind of do like a little performance like that, and then that's something that we can already animate later on. All right, so let's jump to the other window. All right. That was, your take on if it was a good mocap, but hey, it's just a performance. All right, so let's click on stop. And now I have my motion capture, so let's see how it looks like. I'm not getting audio face capture for this example, but you get the idea as a performance. So let's click on scene 3, which is my last recording. All right, so that's me right there. And let's do a quick playback. All right, so I'm just scrubbing. All right, so that's my performance there. I'm just kind of looking, make sure everything's looking good. And then there we go, I run to the computer. So that's my performance right there. All right, so once I have that data, I can either, I can export that, I can get it ready for an iClone as well. So let me show you for those guys who have iClone plugin, Mocap plugin from Reolution, so that we can cover that basis first. So let me connect into my suit here on my screen. So let's connect to this suit that I'm wearing. And there we go, that's me. And I'll go into iClone. Here I have a character already set up to go. And this is really easy. These guys created this plugin, so it's it's almost ridiculously easy. You could just connect into the plugin, go in here to Perception Neuron, go to Perception Neuron Duo, and I have my setup ready to go. I have in this case an IP setup. I click connect. And I have my actor already pre-selected already. I want full body, and I'll do the preview. And so you can see, hey, that's me right there. This is fairly easy to do. Doing live, I can also walk around, for example. You can see that's me going live around my environment. The animation is quite good. So, I can get the full hand movements, the finger movements as well. I could do jazz hands if I want. So that's kind of like a cool feature that the plugins brings. But what if you don't have the plugin? It's not the end of the world. There's a workaround with that. So I want to show you guys how to work with files, for example. And then same goes with I just did the preview. You can do the record, also recording. I'm recording there. I press the space bar, and I could play it back, like so. So that's using the plugin. So what if you don't have the plugin? I've seen a lot of our users requesting like, hey, what's the workflow? Never fear, we have a solution, very simple solution. So we'll take care of that for everyone out there. So let's go back into the file that I recorded. So this is the file that I've just recorded with you guys. Okay, and then I will select this file. I'll run in my queues. Okay. All right, so my queue is about right here at frame 1910 there. I'll do my outs. I can do this as well if I want to, but no, I don't need that. So let's go into the outs here, for example. Queue that up. And I have my in and outs, all right? So I go into File, I go into Export. First thing I'm gonna do, make sure my timeline is matched to the timeline I selected below. And then go into a directory. Select my folder in my desktop that I'm working with. And I'll do the export, select folder. This is where I'm saving my exports out. And very important for those users out there for iClone, select process BVH. Okay, we have the YXZ pre-selected with displacement, and all we need to do is select head frame. So the head frame is important so that we have a T-pose embedded in a file without having to manually move the rotations. Putting the T-pose at the head frame makes the retargeting much easier, so that's why it's very important to do so. Okay, so let's go into the export. I'm doing my checklist, everything looks good. Give that time to process, and then I will go into my folders just to make sure it's there. So I go into new folder, export. So I have my scene 3 with the label that Access Neuron did. You can customize that if you want. For this example, we'll just leave it like that way. I'll go into 3D Exchange. Let's make sure we have a new file here, new project. And the first thing I'll do, in order to convert this into FBX format so that iClone can read it, we need to go through 3D Exchange. I'll go into the folder here, open, and I'll click on the file I just exported. Click open, let that import. All right, so you can see the head frame. The first frame has a T-pose, which is what we're looking for. And all right, so let me just bear with me a few seconds here. I'm going to actually take off my gloves since I'm going to be working with a computer on the keyboard. Just bear with me. So with these steps, we're going to be able to get the files prepared so that we can import that into iClone and use them for, as iMotion files, or you can use them for any other, project that you're working on. So, all right, so we're ready to go. And let's go into the options we have on the right side here. What I'm looking at is I'm looking at the animation, I'm looking at the perform editor. So first thing I want to do is select the animation here so that I can play back the the data. So you can see here, this is my animation. It's so cool to see that. Right now it's a stick figure, but this is the way that 3D Exchange reads the animation, for the skeleton. So first thing I'm going to do, make sure I'm selected, I'm at the head of the frame where the T-pose is. And then I will go into convert non-standard under the character panel here. So convert to non-standard. And since I already have my T-pose, I can directly go into the preset, select Maya Human IK. You'll see that the 3D Exchange is already selecting the correct bones. The structure looks good. There's a green light on the panel, on the characterization profile panel. The next thing I just need to do is hit active, make sure that T-pose is selected, and convert. Once I hit that, 3D Exchange will do its magic. It'll tell you that you can now import this as ready to go into iClone. So let's click OK. And in order for me to bring this into iClone, honestly, it's the easiest thing. It's so very user-friendly to do so. With a matter of just hitting apply to iClone, it'll send it over. But right now, if I go into iClone 7, I have a blank scene right now. So what I need to do is bring in the characters. So what I did is I went into character creator. This is a character that I created really quick and very simple. I just kind of try to keep it as simple as possible, just generic male. And then I already set up his leg length, his foot length, just kind of like little details there for everyone. And then once I'm done, I make sure my character is selected, like so. I go into export, and I can either export as an avatar file so that I can import it later, or I can directly send it to iClone. So in this case, I want to go to send character to iClone. Once I do so, you're going to see the process that it goes into. So that's ready, and then iClone then imports the character. So that's fairly instant, really quick, very fast to do so. Okay, so now once I have the character inside of iClone 7, what's the next step to do? I go into 3D Exchange, and I make sure my animation is selected, and I go to apply to iClone. Once I do so, I go back to iClone 7, and you're going to see that I have the T-pose on the first frame. Let me go ahead and zoom out here so I can see the animation. And you see there goes my performance. That is my performance right there. All right, so that's what I'm working with there. So that's the workflow of working with the file. For example, if you don't have the plugin makes life very easy. But in case if you don't have the plugin, this is the way to work with. So first things first, we're going to do is let's make sure I remove that T-pose that I have at the head of the frame. So with iClone, you have different workspaces. I'll go into the animation. If I go into the animation, this is what I have. I'll just give myself more room here so I can have more freedom. And then I'll go to the front here, and I'll remove that T-pose. Here with the timeline, I have the timeline selected. I make sure I have my character selected as well. I would select the frame here that I have from the animation, and then I'll click on break. Give me 1 second, sorry guys. All right, here we go. Click on the frame, click on break, and let's give it a few seconds for iClone to create that little snapshot there, and then we'll remove that T-pose at the beginning. All right, so let's give it a few more. All right, so now iClone has separated these two. So let's select the front of that, and I have only what I need. Let's make sure I delete oh, sorry. Let's make sure we select these guys here. And let's move in that little clip to the beginning. And there we go, that's my animation. Okay. Now, let's say for example, now this is, I want to tweak the animation, and so far the basics of it looks, very, very good. Let's introduce a new tool that Reallusion has shown as released as of this year for a lot of our users, and that is the curve editor. Inside of iClone 7, we can animate the characters through the puppet tool and just kind of pose, the character very, very easily. Now, with the curve editor, we can get a little bit more in-depth, more control for a lot of our users out there who want to edit, tweak and mocap data. So how to do so? You can see here that right off the bat from the panel here, I don't have curve editor. There's two different ways to get into the curve editor, and that is, the first way is by right-clicking here on the clip, and I go into curve editor, and that would open the curve editor panel. Or the second way to do so is going to the plugins, curve editor, and then click on curve editor there. And it's going to jump it right into this panel on the right-hand side. You can see my space here is getting a little bit tighter. So what I want to do is let's remove the mini viewport for now. I will drag my window into this panel here so that there, gives it more landscape here on my monitor. I'll drag this window and pull this one up so I can have a little bit more room here. So that's kind of the way of how to get ready for, so they can start editing the motion here. So a couple of things you're going to notice here is that if I look into the curve editor right off the bat, there's nothing that I can see. I can't see any animation. I can't see anything here. So it's, never fear. There's just a simple way to get the information of the motion data. So one of the best ways to do so is simply right-click on the motion clip, and you'll see something here. The options is sample motion clip. You have the option to do sample all parts all at once. Mind you, depending on your computer, it might take some time because there is a lot of mocap data, a lot of animation clips, keys that are involved. So in this case, I just want to focus on selective parts. So I'll go into sample selected parts, and let's say I want to edit the torso. Simply click on torso. I click on sample. And then once I do that, you're going to notice a few more things. You're going to see keyframes here at the bottom on the motion clip. If I expand this, the motion layer, I'll see the torso, and you'll see other options here. I haven't sampled any other animation keys for the other bones. I just wanted a torso. So then that's, several things you're going to notice on the timeline. If you go into curve editor, you're going to notice here a difference. The ones that don't have sample information are grayed out, and the ones that do are colored in. So, you'll see the waist, spine, everything that is involved with the torso. In this case, we're looking for, for example, we're looking for the position of the hips. We can select here. Obviously, there's a couple of frames there. And if you look at the rotation, right here, different options here. So let's move a little bit further here. So let's go over the curve editor functions here before I continue here. You'll see the top line, you have keys, you have tangent, navigation, zoom, optimize, and curve. If you're comfortable with Maya, it's actually very easy, the shortcuts here. If you hit Alt, you can click on Alt and drag. With the scroll wheel, you can zoom in, zoom out. All right, and let's see what we got here. So you notice that I was very zoomed out. I couldn't see any information here. So all I did is select the rotation that I'm looking for, and I click on F, and it'll frame everything. So hotkey F will frame all the keys for you so you can see it all together. So that's kind of like a good way to do that. Also, I can do that with the Y and etc. And so let's scrub through the animation. Right now for the presentation, I just have the quick mode enabled so I can scrub quickly and I can see the animation smoothly. So, I can see, let's say if I want to edit the animation curves, you can see there's a lot of keys here, okay? This could be overwhelming if you start editing, a lot of keys. If you have motion that's, quite fast and it's something that you're gonna see a bunch of more points. One of the quickest way that you can, animate is kind of like optimizing the curves. And by doing so, you can save yourself a lot of work. So you'll see here, there's a lot of points in this diagram here. If I select the rotation and I go into optimize selected, and then optimize selected will do is it'll see the curve on inside of iClone here, and then it'll judge which keys you don't need or you do need. In this case, if you pull all the way to 1, it's going to do extreme results. If you do it to 0.2, it's going to, it will slightly remove some keys. So let's go into optimize selected, hit apply, and notice what happens here. So I click apply, and you'll see that a lot of the frames kind of moved or were removed in that case. So iClone has given you a shortcut of how to optimize your workflow so you don't have to have unnecessary keys in space inside of the window here. So I can go ahead and see a couple of curves here that don't need. If I highlight select, you can see a couple of handles here that I can play around with just by click and dragging, and then I can also drag it, freely through the window. In this case, let's say for example, I want to click and drag just up, up and down. In this case, I will just click on Shift, click on a keyframe, and drag down or up. Okay, so that's one of the good advantages there of having that feature there. You guys can get very you can smooth this out if you want. You can see that there's a couple of it's up to you of what what you want. I can see that there's a slope here, for example. I can just kind of delete some keyframes here, and then you can see that it's still saving up previous tangents here. So I can just click on select. I can do a smooth, and then iClone would smooth out a couple of the animations. So this is how you edit motion keys inside of Reallusion's iClone. This is a good example of how to do so. And then, for example, let's click here, and I'm looking for the hip position on the up and down. Let's say, for example, this frame here, I'm actually on the hips position Z. If I click and click on Shift and drag up, you'll see I'm affecting the height of the character. You know, sometimes a character might be too high, might be too low. You can actually go ahead and edit that if you want. You can see some animations here are a little bit jittery. So if I click and drag and I hit F, I can frame my tangents here. And let's go into this frame. You can see a little bit of, you know, a little bit of animation there with the curves there. I can actually select here, and I can see that there's unnecessary, you know, interpolation there. So I can click on smooth, and I can smooth it that way. Also here, I can kind of, you know, it's up to you. I'm just going over a brief how to edit the motions here with Curve Editor, and you can go ahead and smooth out the whole process. You know, if there's some jittering on some animation. So that's kind of like how to go through with the animation tools there. I want to see if anybody has questions regarding this. Maybe I can bring it up. And this is the quite easy way to edit motion. In this case, the animation, you know, with the feet and hip are working quite well. All right, so no questions yet. We'll leave that for afterward. So I'm scribbling here, and I can see that, let's say, for example, I want to fix, you know, maybe, you know, let's go, just trying to see if anything that I can fix here with the, I can see the fingers are giving quite some issue here. I'll go over it through another animation so that we can go through much more tough capturing. So that's kind of like the basis of this animation, how to go into edit. You know, again, if you wanted to edit the legs, for example, just go into sample motion clip, sampled selected parts, and I can select legs, and I can add the legs in here. Realization will add the legs at the bottom here. You see the clip there. And then once I go into the leg features here in the curve, I can also select, you know, those. Right now, I don't see it, so I'll click on F to frame all the keys inside of these rotation Z for the thigh, and I can edit that information, you know. So this is kind of like a quick way. So let's go into a much tougher animation. For example, let's say if you captured some kind of mocap an environment that was not ideally, and you kind of had one shot and couldn't, you know, re-record it, for example. You know, you had some kind of, you know, actor, you know, your time budget, and you had to do it once, and for some reason it just wasn't it didn't work. So I'll go back into Access Neuron. Okay, and let me go into my directory where I have this file, and this is something I want to share with everyone here. So I know a lot of people are working with, you know, maybe some files that you know, maybe that wasn't ideal for the capture environment, and you know, they feel like it might be, you know, no fix for it, and I'll show you quickly how to fix them. So this is my directory, and let me open this file here. Let's give it some time to load. And if I play this file back, okay, let's play this back. All right, so this is an animation I did, mocap I did, and this was during an event that we were testing out the suit in an environment. And let's go ahead and delete the edits I have already done to this file. So let's delete this guy here. Let me open up another file here so I can refresh. All right. Oh, this file is large. All right, so let's go back into the original file that I'm working with. All right, so let's see how it looks right now. This is raw, no edits, and you'll see what's going on here. Okay, so for this example, I'm just going to do, you know, kind of isolate a portion that I want to edit. And it's just a matter of just kind of optimizing the features here. And I'll show you real quick where I want to begin. Let's go into, I'll click this beginning. And let's stop it around here. Okay. So let's go into the end. All right. And we have a video on this as well. If anyone has any questions regarding this, we have a video on our YouTube channel regarding how to, work with the contact editor. This is the panel that I like to work with, so I can do the edits on the contact, for example. And let's kind of scrub through it so we can see the issue that we have and make sure we have the timing. So you can see that the animation is kind of going up, it's skipping. This is a nightmare, oh my God. So let's start editing the contact points. So first things first, let's start with the right foot. You can see the right foot should be, let me give myself a little bit more room here at the beginning. So I will right click, drag at the beginning, click on contact for the foot. Okay, and then that's already on it's already on contact. I'm gonna scrub here. At this point, you see that the left foot is also disengaging. It shouldn't. So let's go ahead and work with the left foot. So I'll go into the left foot here, drag, and then wait for that time for the left foot to disengage, right about there. So I'll hit on contact. Okay. At this point, let's go into the right foot and let's predict that contact point. Okay. Bam, right there. So let's go into drag, click, and let's look at the disengage now, the other end. So that would be contact. Okay. Here we go. So I just need to give myself a little bit more timing on the contact for the right foot. Oh, wrong one. Contact, there we go. Okay, right there, let's look at the left foot now. And still contact right about there for the left leg, left foot. Okay, I think, let me see if I get this right. I think this one here on contact, yeah. So bear with me if you, so I definitely want you guys to see this so you can see how, the edit goes inside of Axis Neuron. Axis Neuron, you can edit the contact points. So these are tools that we provide inside of Axis Neuron so you can clean up animation. So then on the left leg, we're going to do a contact at this point. Right about there. So contact. Okay, I think there it is. Okay, so the left foot doesn't disengage until there. So left foot, contact here. Okay, right about there. So this is on contact. Okay, scrub there. Okay, so right about there, that's the right foot I'm looking at. I want to give a little bit more room for the contact there. Okay. Okay, now I'm looking at the left leg contact. Okay. Okay, still contact, right about there, it disengages, so contact. So let's scrub that. Okay, and then now the right foot, let's do a little bit more contact here. Okay. So there we go. So far so good. Just scrubbing to make sure it's looking good. Okay, so now I need to look at, I'm looking at the right foot now. I'm gonna set up the contact points for that one. So let's look at the right foot, drag and select, it's engaged, and let's wait for it to disengage. Oh, it stays engaged for this one, so here we go. Guys moving, and there we go. So you can see we kind of edited, you know, this was an unworkable file, and we've kind of cleaned up the foot contact. Okay. So you saw that the animation before was like a lot of popping. It was like the contact was basically, you know, you know, the capturing was not working correctly because there was some kind of environment on the floor that was getting it off guard. And I went ahead and edited the contact points so that I can let Access Neuron understand where is the contact, where it is not. And I'm basically just looking at where the foot engages and where it disengages. And based on that, I'll do the contact or on contact. It requires a little bit, you know, animation. You do the anticipation to see if the foot is going to contact or not, etc. So this is kind of like a, you know, edit that works well. You know, this is something that I would have said maybe a lot of users would say, oh, let's do it again one more time. No, you can still use this animation, edit inside of Access Neuron, you know, edit the foot context, for example, and then, you know, still have a usable file here. So once that's ready, I'll go ahead and let's go into File, go to Export. Again, I have my in and out frames. In this example, I'll go into the folder that I created inside of the desktop. Go into the Export, select Folder. Remember, click on Process BVH. Rotation is set, is already good. Displacement is good, and add T-pose. Remember, at the head of the frame. In this case, I'll just say live edit demo and hit export. Okay, Access Neuron will do that. And then let's jump into 3D Exchange so that we can prepare this file. Let me start off with a new environment here. So then I'll go into the folder, select live edit demo, double click there. 3D Exchange will import that file. Okay, same thing as before. I'm gonna select the animation and make sure that my data is in there. There you go. It's good to go. So that's, you know, ready to start editing. All right, there we go. And then remember, all we have to do is go into convert to non-standard. We have the T-pose already. I was at the head of the frame. I click on custom for the presets, go to my human IK, and everything's looking good. I have a green dot there. Go to active, make sure T-pose is selected, hit convert. Let 3D Exchange do its magic. It's letting me know that I'm okay to go to apply it to iClone. So click on OK. And let's make sure my iClone scene is ready. Okay. What I'll do is do a new project here, a brand new project, and let's bring in my character again. So as you export, send character to iClone. All right, so then iClone now has my character ready to go. And then I go into 3D Exchange and I click on apply to iClone. Once I do that, I'm going to scrub, and you'll see my animation there. You can see that the animation goes a little bit over, you know, the timeline. So then what I'll do is I'll look at the end of the frame around here. Just click and drag the end frame somewhere there. Okay, so I can loop this animation so I can play it back. All right, so there's my character there. Remember, we had that popping in the hip, and it was, not an ideal animation that we could use. So now we kind of have a file that we can work with. This is something that we can still use. What I'll do is I will go into, let me pause this, do the same process. Just right-click on the motion clip here, and then go into sample motion clip, go to sample selected parts, and I want to take a look at the torso. So right now I have the torso selected, click on sample. All right, that's instant. We have animation keys here. If I drop this down, I have animation keys here. And then I go into curve editor, I'll see animations. Right now if I click, there's nothing, so I want to make sure I'm clicking on F, hotkey F, and that'll frame the animation. Okay? Just bear with me, I might have lost my audio. All right, so then let's get rid of that T-pose at the beginning. So let's go to the next frame. That's where I want to start. I have my clips here selected, and let's make sure there it is. Okay. All right. Break. Okay. So let's give it iClone just a few so that we can remove that T-pose, and let me just, while we wait, make sure the chat is activated. All right. All right, so I hope everyone is having this data very useful here. Oh, it looks like one more time, let's do this here. So yeah, this is kind of like, showing you again animation that is not working well, after the mocap, but you want to edit, the animation afterwards. This is something that a lot of our users run into. Okay, so let's see here. I think it's just a minor little bug here. So let's hit break. There we go. All right, that's working. So I'll delete the head frame. And I'll push this timeline here to the beginning. All right, so I am ready to go. And I'm looking at my, the animation for the hips. And I'm looking at the position of the hips. Okay, there we go. That's my curve for the hips. I just framed everything. You can see wherever that, the peak goes, that's where he jumps. Okay, and the first thing I want to do before I begin editing is you can go, straight to the curve and start editing, or you can just, save yourself some time and, and go to optimize selected, and, click on that threshold value to 0.2, go to apply, and you'll see how, like magic, Relution has eliminated those curves, the keys that are unnecessary. It's maintaining the interpolation, it's maintaining the curve flow, it's just removing keys that are extra, that are unnecessary. Like it says, it's an optimizing, basically. So I'll go into this little section here, and I will click and drag, and I have several keys selected. I'll click on F, so I can get a more in-depth look of what's going on here. So I have an option of, let's say, for example, I want to, smooth this, this little jump here, and I can remove the keys that are going in before. There's no right or wrong way to do it, but this is one workflow that I use. I'll click on the top of the curve here, and then I want to bring this down, so I'll click on Shift, click on a keyframe, and then bring it down. Okay, maybe just a little bit too much, a little bit higher. So, you use your judgment, if you want to, if that animation looks good, let's go there. And, that's kind of just editing the motion on the hip, per se. So let's go on to the next jump that he does. All right. Let's select the frames, click and drag, and click on F. And you can see a couple of the interpolations here are a little bit extreme here. So let's click on Auto. Okay. All right, so I'm just kind of cleaning up the animation again. I can go into this frame. I can maybe increase the height on that jump. Okay, and then, I can go ahead and edit that way. So this is, one of the tweaks that I can do, and so I can improve this mocap data. Let's go ahead and play back the animation. Okay. So yeah, there we go. That's kind of like, smoothing out the jump. And then let's go into, you can see here, another example here is the hand. Oh my God, look at that hand. Again, this is a mocap data that was not recorded in an ideal location, and we can still fix this. So let's go ahead and by going to into the motion again, motion clip, right click on the motion clip here, click on sample, that is the left hand. So in that case, I want to go to the left arm. The hand keys are actually located in the left arm section, so let's sample that. All right, you will notice here that the left arm added some keys. If I go into, let's zoom out, and then let's go into that section where the hand breaks. Oh no, it breaks. Okay, so let's go into the hand rotation here. Let's go into the curve editor, and I'm looking for the rotation. So I will hit frame for this one, frame for that one. So this rotation is actually the X. So let's go in here and let's go to this frame where I have a key. Again, I can actually optimize this if I wanted to. So I'll just go into optimize selected, bring the threshold to 0.2, hit apply, and look at that. It removed all the frames I don't need. So, and I kept this one that I'm working with, so that's good. So let's click shift and drag up, bring that rotation higher, and then what do we have now? We have kind of like, Grand Canyon going on here. If I go scrub backwards, you can see that wherever I move the keyframe, it looks good, and then anything away from that just looks terrible. So let's go ahead and we can kind of, not mash the animation so much, but we can remove, maybe we don't need this animation, let's remove these guys right here. I'll go into this frame and click shift, drag up to where that rotation is looking good. And you'll see that the interpolation is a bit off. It's going, if you want to edit that based on ease in, ease out, you can go ahead and do so. In this case, just for this tutorial, just hit auto. Let's see how that looks. There we go. So the rotation is cleaned up, and oh no, he still has a broken hand there. So let's go ahead and go into the other animations. And I can tell you right now, everything looks good up until this here. So let's see if this trick works. Let's click on these guys here. And I'll just put 0 here. This is kind of like, I'm just testing out if I do that, you can see I've selected a group of keys here, and I selected 0. And so by doing so, you can see if I remove those unwanted rotation values on the hand. So now, let me scrub all the way back and make sure I have all that information good to go. Let me look at that hand. And there we go. Oh, it looks like he might be twisting his hand a little bit too much at the end. We know where to go. So it's back to the curve editor. Here we go. So I'll select this guy here. Click Shift, drag down, all the way to the bottom. And then this looks like it's also not working good. So I click and drag around there. I've changed the keys, so I want to make sure that these guys are smooth out, so it's kind of in and out. And then select keys here, so I can, scrub, make sure everything's looking good. And so there we go. Let's scrub the animation. You guys saw a couple of steps that I did. The animation looked terrible, during the mocap, and that was because the environment wasn't ideal. So I salvaged the animation by using tools for Access Neuron and iClone 7 with the help of the curve editor. And if I'll go a little bit in depth, a little bit more. Actually, if I go into, you see, a lot of the characters might be skinny, might be big or something like that, and you might find yourself with the arm, it's going through the body, and you want to open the arm. It's always impossible to mocap, a 6 foot tall person to a 3 foot tall character. So you can go into let's make sure we have this selected. So let's go into, let's pick a good frame here so you can see. So you can see here the hand goes into the character's thigh. So I'm looking for is, let's go all the way down here. Just bear with me 1 second here. This is kind of like on the spot. So we're looking for the upper arm. In this case, let's see here. Let's pick this frame. So all we want to do is move that shoulder away from the body so that there's a little bit more freedom when it does that motion. So let's bring this guy up to forward. All right, and let's go into the Y. And let's bring this guy a little bit out. Okay. And let's go into the upper arm of the Z. Z pose. So let's click and drag this guy here. A little bit away from the thigh, So let's scrub here. Let's see, he's still hitting that shoulder a little bit much. So I'll stay in the rotation Z. Shift click, drag up. All right, there we go. And let's see if it's still doing it. All right, so he's still doing up around this area. So I'm selecting the keys here. Shoulder, bring this guy up. Shift. Let's bring the in and out, since we know these guys are going way too far. Let's shift, click drag up. All right, let's see how that's looking. A little bit better, huh? So you can see with those little edits, I've moved the arm away from the thigh. Right now it looks like the finger is getting through. That would be in the lower arm, the forearm that is. I can move the arm up if I want to, but you get the idea. Those are the kind of edits you can do. It takes time. These are kind of edits that an animator or mocap personnel would do. But with the power of the curve editor and the iClone, you can have these features, you can edit the animation to work with for your character. So let's scrub again from the beginning. Everything's looking, let's go back into the standard window. Let's play it back. Let's see how it looks. So the animation is looking good. We had an animation that was jumping. It's cleaned up. We can go more into the more curves and kind of optimize the, the animation to smooth out. Always remember, if you smooth out way too much, you lose kind of that uniqueness of the animation performance. So those are things to keep in mind going forward. So let's say I like this animation. I want to use it for other characters. You can actually go into the windows and go into the, let's stop this animation. Let's go into Windows, go into animation, back to the window that I was working with, and I can right click on this. Sorry, you see the collect clip here. If you right click and drag, let's see here. Sorry, it's left click and drag. You see that I have a little blue highlight there. If I right click on it, you can add motion to library. You can add it to Motion Plus, gesture library. You can add these motions however you want throughout the Reallusion iClone family features here. So this is something that if you want to use this for another character, this is the way to go. I just use this character as like a default template placeholder so that I know if maybe his arms might be moving through his body, so I can have a reference for the feet, for example, or I can use reference for the hip. This is like if you're a mocap tech, this is the right way to one of the many ways to edit mocap. So with these features, by far, it's very user-friendly, very easy to use, and straightforward. If you have any questions regarding this, send us an email at contact@neuromocap.com so that we can move over a different workflow that you might have, and we can share more ideas for everyone out there. So let's see, what time do we have? It looks like we've gone over a little bit in depth here. I don't want to lose touch with our users out there. So that's right now. The animation is looking really great. For those of you who didn't see how it was from Access Neuron, I would simply go into the file. And let me delete that FCD file that's associated to this file, and let me load it. So let me just refresh. Just bear with me. Go into yeah, this is the file that we were working with. And this is how the file looked before. So we went from a mocap that it was unusable, that might have been recorded during an event that it's not ideal to record mocap, and we edited it inside of Access Neuron. We cleaned up the contact points, right? We prepared that, and then we sent it to the, we put it through 3D Exchange so that it can be used inside of iClone. We went to iClone 7. And we went ahead and basically just edited the curves, and now we have a usable animation. Okay, and there is all sorts of things going on. The hip was like all over the place. The hand looked like it was broken. So these are edits that you can do inside of both in Access Neuron and iClone 7, so you can get a clean workflow with your mocap. So I hope everyone gets a lot of information from this video. I'm very excited to share this for everyone out there. And don't be afraid of the tools that are out there. These tools are there. They're very user-friendly. Curve Editor is out there and available in Reallusion. If you don't have the Curve Editor, please visit reallusion.com for more information on the Curve Editor. And also for all our users who have iClone 7, now you have a better idea of the workflow with Perception Neuron. So I'll open it really quick for a couple of questions. I know I went a little bit over on time. So let's see if we have any other questions here. We will be doing workflow with Unity very soon. Right now, this class is for everyone out there who's using Relusion's tools with iClone, Character Creator, and 3D Exchange, plus the Mocap Plugin that we have there. With Unity, we'll go over how to set up your character, how to retarget your character, either importing through a file or doing live stream. So stay tuned for that. We'll have that ready for you guys on the next live stream show. And let's see, anything else out there for questions? I didn't go over face capturing because that is a different tool. We can say that for another video. I think later on I'll go into more in depth with more details into editing, refining tools for mocap. For this video, I wanted to cover just kind of the workflow of exporting, editing, and just getting that data into iClone. So let's see if any other questions. All right, looks like we're all out of questions here. I hope everyone enjoyed today's session. And then we will also touch base with Unreal. So we're going to be sharing more videos as we go along. If you have any other suggestions for upcoming videos, please let us know at contact@unrealmocap.com. So we're very excited for everyone to be joining us today. If there's 1 user or 100 users, hey, that makes me happy. So who joined us today, if you have any other mocap users out there, let them know that these videos are going on, and so that we can share knowledge and have us connected with you guys, most importantly. So thank you again. I want to close the video up for today's session, and we'll be back next week. And more on throughout the year for more classes for Perception Neuron for everyone out there. So thank you so much. Hope to hear from you through email, through videos, through showcases that you guys share with us. So thank you guys, and have a good day. Have a good mocap day. Thanks.